Friends, neighbors, comrades, and people out in the audience, hi.
Hello.
Thanks for coming to the official Peace and Freedom Party presidential candidate forum. It's not a coincidence that in 2012 we have not just a couple of candidates, but 4 presidential candidates, all of them very well versed in the issues and some of them of pretty good note. This is the year of Occupy. Occupy for the past 10 months has been putting the issues of wealth distribution, wealth maldistribution, and income indisparity, and corporate control over our lives, civil liberties, and livelihoods in the news every day. The bourgeois media has not responded to that other than to carry occasional articles about people getting arrested. Class and income indisparity is the great non-told story in the news today. And it's the story that our 4 Peace and Freedom candidates are telling amply, audibly, and well. And it's because they're running on the ticket of the only socialist party that is on the ballot in California.
Peace and Freedom Party.
We are a party that is controlled by our grassroots, by the people who put in their work and their donations, their time and their thought. We're not controlled by the corporations or the corporate media or corporate money. That's why we're able to have candidates who want to talk about issues like saving the schools and public services, keeping our jobs here, creating decent jobs in America that preserve the environment and provide livelihoods for everyone. I would like to introduce and bring up to the podium our U.S. Senate candidate. Marsha Feinland is a retired teacher. She's been on the front lines in the Occupy movement and was there for Occupy the Courts. She's run for this office before. And folks, if you're pissed off that both of our Democratic senators voted for the NDAA, please vote for the woman who would not have voted for it.
That's right.
Ladies and gentlemen, Marsha Feinland.
Crowd today because I'm going to be going in Palm Springs and I don't know what that's going to be like. But you know, you're here and I'm really glad to see that you're here, and I know that you came to decide which presidential candidate to vote for in the Peace and Freedom Party primary. I hope you realize you need to register Peace and Freedom Party in order to vote for one of those people, and I'm sure there are registration forms here. My situation is a little bit different. I'm running for United States Senate, and since Proposition 14 passed, anyone can vote for one of those candidates. There are 24 or maybe 25 people running for United States Senate in the primary. There are 14 Republicans. That's because it became a lot more expensive to run since Prop 14 passed. So I figured Republicans have the most money. The Democrats, there are 5 Democrats, I think. The reason I'm not sure is some of them dropped out before the filing period. There are actually 2 Peace and Freedom people. The Greens did not, no Green ran, and I have received the endorsement of the Alameda County Green Party. And if any of you know Greens and think they might want to endorse a candidate, send them my way. And there are actually, there's a Libertarian and an American Independent Party candidate. So clearly, I am the only one or maybe one of 2 candidates who really opposes the system as we know it and wants a fundamental change. I want to talk a little bit about why we need to build the Peace and Freedom Party, because I am running to build a party for us, for working class people. It would be nice if I could get into the top 2 and even go to the Senate, although frankly when I got there I'd have to organize people to storm the Senate because I don't expect the other senators to actually agree with me. But we need to build a party for our class because the capitalists have the Democrats and the Republicans locked up. I want to talk a little bit about some of the issues, and someone's timing, right? Because I could go on forever, and hold me up when it's 1 minute, so I'll just stop. I want to talk about a few issues that affect us and talk about a little bit about the difference between how a Democrat might approach this and how a Peace and Freedom Party person might approach this, because some people frankly think that the Democrats are the answer and that voting for a third party is a waste of time, and it really isn't. We've got to build an alternative. One of the issues that most concerns me is the issue of immigration. In this country, immigrants are scapegoated. People are told, working class people think that immigrants are taking their jobs, and therefore they're very anti-immigrant. And I know this because I've run for Senate 3 times, and when people see my literature and see that I want to provide amnesty for undocumented immigrants, that I say that immigrants are our brothers and sisters, immigrant workers just need jobs like the rest of us, they say, why do you like them? They're taking our jobs. Well, the jobs don't belong to us.
Right.
The jobs belong to the employer class. The jobs belong to the capitalists. And they squeeze the work out of us for their profit. And they need to maintain a reserve army of labor. They need to have people who are unemployed. So right now, a lot of us and a lot of the immigrants are in the same boat. We're all unemployed. NAFTA destroyed the economy of Mexico, so a lot of people come here seeking work. And the Democrats talk out of 2 sides of their mouth. They say, oh, well, we just want to make it a little more difficult because we know that people should go through hoops, they should be good citizens, yada, yada, yada. But they also know that their buddies in agribusiness need the agricultural workers, so they just close their eyes for some people. On the other hand, they also shoot people that are coming across the border. And by the way, Dianne Feinstein, who I am running against, I don't know if you remember the case of a couple of years ago. Some people were crossing the border and the border guards shot them, and they were prosecuted. The border guards were prosecuted, but Dianne Feinstein said, no, no, no. They're just doing their job. So it's really important that we view immigrant workers as our brothers and sisters and that we fight together in order to create an economy that we can run together to provide the jobs that all of us need and to produce what we need. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about the prisons. I haven't been talking about that too much lately, and I was thinking about it this morning because my sister-in-law, who I'm staying with, worked in juvenile corrections briefly, but she's familiar with the system. And she said, when people go to prison, the mentality of the prison guards is just whack them around. So it just makes things worse. People become worse. They don't become better in prisons. There's nothing correctional about the correctional system. Why don't we have rehabilitation? Gee, that might cost some money. But we have to learn, if we're really socialists and we really want to develop a society in which we all work together, we need to learn to lift all of us up. Because this society creates so many problems for people that many people act in antisocial ways. And people, in a good society, people would learn how to work in common for their common good. One really good thing about the Occupy movement, besides the fact that they say we are the 99% and we don't like the bosses and we don't like the capitalists, is that they are actually developing kind of a mini culture. I don't know what it's like down here, but I have been to Occupy Oakland. And in Occupy Oakland, street people came along. And Occupy, they want to live there too. And they're integrated into the society. Because the people who are doing the occupying want to live in a society where they're in harmony with others, and they are able to develop feeding people, medical stuff, cultural stuff, where everybody can actually belong. And that's the kind of society that we need. Another issue is, of course, the war. And I hear a lot of people say, well, the war costs too much, we need to reduce the troops. Well, that's all true. The war costs too much. But the real problem with the war and with United States imperialism is that the people who run this country think that they can send troops anywhere in the world to destroy people's societies and destroy their political systems, and in order for the benefit of the capitalist class in this country. That's entirely wrong. I mean, it's true it costs too much, But the real problem is that we are acting as a destroyer and as a police force for the capitalists all around the world, and that needs to stop. And I remember when I used to teach in Alameda, which is a little island near Oakland, and it had a naval base. And they were having base closures, and Congressman Ron Dellums, who was one of the most liberal Democrats who ever was in Congress, said, oh, that's in my district. We want to cut the fat. We don't want to cut the meat of the defense system. Well, I want to cut the meat out of it.
That's right. All of it.
All of it. I want to talk about healthcare a little bit, because look what we have here, and a lot of people are defending the current bill that passed in Congress that was, some people call Obamacare. I don't like to call it Obamacare that much. I like to call it insurance care.
That's right.
Because what it does is it guarantees profits to the insurance companies. And there has been a bill in Congress, formerly the Dellums bill, then the Conyers bill, for Medicare for all. And that's the kind of system we need. And some people say to me, well, there are some good Democrats and they're for the right kind of healthcare system. Well, why can't it ever pass?
Right.
It can't pass because they're part of the Democratic caucus, and when push comes to shove, they have to vote for the bill that their party leadership tells them to vote for.
Exactly.
We don't want this healthcare, so-called healthcare bill, really health insurance bill. We don't want it because it forces people to buy insurance. We should be using our resources to actually provide health care to people. And that's the difference between a socialist and a capitalist. Actually, the best system would be socialized medicine, like they have in Britain, for example, where the government pays the doctors, and you go to the doctor, and you don't have any of that paperwork involved at all. But if we could get single-payer Medicare for all, that would sure be a step in the right direction. Then, of course, there's the environment. And what the Democrats in Congress have been trying to give us, I know the Democrats in the California legislature have already passed, is a cap and trade bill. What does that mean? That means that everybody gets credits for pollution.
That's right.
And some people need more credits, some industries need more credits, and some industry need fewer credits. And the industries that need fewer credits can sell their credits, they trade them. Oh, because there's a cap. The cap is you can only pollute so much. But if you can buy those credits, you can pollute more. Well, what kind of regulation is that? We need real environmental regulation. And we also need to have a system that makes sense, doesn't just make money for people. For instance, they want to build, there's some companies that want to build these huge solar panel fields in the desert. Well, guess what? There's life in the desert. And we need to think about how we're building things to preserve the life that we already have. Why not have rooftop solar?
Exactly.
There are solutions. The other thing, why not have public transportation and not have so many cars?
Right.
Decent public transportation that's free and runs efficiently and economically. Why not build housing and places of work and parks clustered so that people can get there either by walking or bike or by public transportation without having to get in their car? And reserve your automobile for when you really, have an trip that you're going far away occasionally, and there's no high-speed rail or no public transportation to get there. Or, you really have to lug around 1 million leaflets because you're trying to make a revolution.
All right.
I hope you vote for me, Marsha Feinland, for U.S. Senate, and I hope you listen to all of these candidates.